All right, you guys, just a brief little introductory clip before we get into this semi-lengthy discussion about this particular tea ritual. Now, I'm going to post a link in the description box below for those of you who did not see the video where I lightly discussed this tea ritual. So you can watch that if you're interested. But for those who don't know, this tea ritual is designed to help you tap into more of the power of your mind by stimulating positive thinking. It's a form of almost like a meditation with your eyes open, so to speak. Now, in this video, I made a few verbal mistakes, so I wanted to make an introductory video to clarify a few things. I talk a lot in this video about the power of positive thinking. Positive thinking is how you change your life for the better. It's how you attain great health. You have to tap into the power of the mind, and you have to learn to adapt to stressful environments and transmute all the stress in your life. And we do that through positivity. I talk in this video about using this particular tea ritual that you can do every night or morning, whenever. I prefer doing it at night. I talk about how you can use this to help the power of your hardware, your physical body, gain more adaptability to stress. You're using teas in conjunction with positive thinking in this ritual to kind of revamp your system, so to speak, in your mind. The body and the mind are intimately connected, and we're trying to address the health of both of them through this ritual. I talked, however, a lot about positive thinking. Now, positive thinking is essential, it's crucial, but what's really important is positive feeling, and I forgot to, for some reason, really mention that in this video. If you harbor positive thinking, real positive thinking spawns from an emotional state of positive feeling. You can think all the positive thoughts you want and not have them produce any effect on your mind, your body, and your reality if you don't actually feel them. It's not so much what you think, ladies and gentlemen, it's how you think. And you think positively. You can only create positive, authentically positive, thoughts if you are if you have a positive emotion, positive feeling, state of mind where you feel positive. And that's what I really failed to address in this video, so I wanted to throw that out before we get into this 30-minute clip. You have to reprogram your emotional state to be happy, to be positive, and that's really how you generate positive thinking. So, I talked in this video about using a few different Chinese medicinal herbs to reprogram the mind, to help assist the mind while you reprogram it. I mentioned Christian D. Larson's book, Your Forces and How to Use Them. And I talk heavily about reprogramming the mind and using positive feeling and thought. I talk about that somewhat often here on the Patreon page because it's essential. So many of us here in the West get sucked into this negative algorithm of thinking and feeling. There's more depression here than anywhere else. I believe there's over 60 million people on antidepressants. Most people have some type of emotional distress, some type of mental distress. So this ritual serves to try to help you get more of your balance, more of your inner self to shine through. Now, many people who have emotional issues, mental issues, physiological issues of relating to the body, you name it, they have an imbalance in one of the three or multiple, all of the three sometimes, the treasures of Chinese healing, which are Jing, Jing, Qi, or Qi, and Shen. Jing, Qi, and Shen. Excuse me, that was a mouthful. So by using this ritual, you're really trying to balance all three of the treasures. And that's why I recommend in this video using the tonic herbs of traditional Chinese medicine. There's tons of tonic herbs. You can look them up. I will be making videos on tonic herbs in the near future. Their tonic herbs are things like goji berries, schisandra berry, reishi mushroom, gynostemma, Guo, or Hishu Wu, white lotus flower, I think it's called. There's just so many different tonic herbs. Tonic herbs, ladies and gentlemen, have been used for thousands of years because they're gentle. You can use them every day. They have a cumulative effect. They affect the consciousness and the mind, the subconscious mind. They help you feel better. They help you adapt to stress. And they're gentle to take every day. So they're not like drugs. They're not like some of the inferior herbs in things that people are using here in the West. A lot of the herbs and things that people are using here in the West are what's known as inferior herbs. They are medicinal. They can be used for medicinal purposes, but they are not safe to take long term, and they actually have the potential to do more damage than good, such as, for instance, milk thistle. For the longest time, I thought milk thistle was healthy. Milk thistle can actually cause the poisons in your system to be released out of your liver and then recirculated back into your system. So if you're an alcoholic, you have issues where you're trying to detox and you take milk thistle, you can be doing a lot more damage than good. It can actually make your liver swell. That's why I think, personally, Schisandra berry is one of the greatest things for liver detox and detox in general, because it actually enables both stage 1 and stage 2 of liver detox, of detoxification. It helps bind to the negative constituents so you can eliminate them out of the urinary tract and through the sweat. So a lot of the herbs and stuff that people are using in the West actually are inferior, even though they have a purpose, and they're doing more damage than good. So I want to keep this introduction kind of short, you guys. Again, you may think that, some people might think, oh, I don't really need to have any more positive thinking. I'm already positive, this and that. You can never have too much positivity. So there's all of us have a particular dream in life, a goal of what we want to achieve or what we want to become. What's stopping us 9 times out of 10 is stress, is non-beneficial, non-scientific negative thinkings and negative thinking and negative feeling. All we have to do is transmute those things. I'm not saying that I've reached the pinnacle of this. I'm just saying that every day I'm working on my health. I'm working on my mental health, especially because the mental health is in many shapes, in many respects, more important than the physical health. Although they're both intimately connected, you could be the healthiest person in the world eating all the healthy foods and still be a very negative person and just damaging yourself through stress. There's a balance here. So we all should aim for our highest goals and not settle for anything less than that. Even though it may take us a while to get there, every day is a step towards achieving our goals. And through the laws of repetition, if you set your goal and you don't give up and you remain positive, you are bound to receive your goal by spiritual law. But we have to remain dedicated to the path. We can't stray. We can't get distracted. And we have to believe in ourselves. And that's what this tea ritual is for, you guys. Sure, you can just brew a cup of tea. You can brew a pot of tea and just drink it and try to achieve the benefit from doing it. But if you use the tea as a form of wakeful meditation with your eyes closed, where with each sip, you envision it going into your system and just totally healing you and healing your mind and healing your physical body. If you do this over and over for a prolonged period, it will have an effect, in my opinion. It's had a profound effect on me. You just really need to use the right herbs. You need to use the right roots. So many people have the right intentions to heal this and that, but they don't use the right constituents. They're using inferior herbs, herbs that have medicinal value but should not be taken for a prolonged period. And if you're going to be utilizing something for a prolonged period, you want to use something that's safe, and that's why I gravitate towards the traditional Chinese medicine system. I think it's beautiful, it's poetically ingenious, it's huge, it's expansive. You could spend your whole life studying it. And it's been used for thousands of years by the Taoists, you name it. These herbs have the ability to help increase our willpower. What's beautiful about the Chinese tonic herbs, which I talk more about in the following video, is that they help us cope with stress. They help us adapt to stressful situations. That's why they're called adaptogens. Adaptogens are constituents that we can ingest, which help our body deal with stress. The more your body has constituents in it that can help you deal with the physiological effect of stress on your body, the more your mind will be able to be numb to stressors. They won't affect you as much, and you'll be able to get much more done. So many people don't get much done because they're stressed. Stress gets the best of them. It's like a parasite. Nature has the tools that we can use to transcend stress, but it's important that we take advantage now and not wait. Health is something that's beautiful. What's interesting also, you guys, just briefly about the traditional Chinese medicine system, is that they focus on positive health. One of the greatest secrets of Chinese medicine, it's really not a secret, but due to the Western conditioning of the mind, it seems so foreign. One of their greatest secrets is the key to getting healthy is to constantly focus on health. In the West, we constantly focus on what's damaging us. We constantly focus on negativity. That's why when people go to get a cheeseburger, oftentimes people will make jokes about how unhealthy it is. Like, oh, it's a heart attack on a plate or this and that. Do you have any clue what you're doing when you speak that out loud? You're affirming. Thoughts and words are living things. They're spells. And when you speak things, you're actually creating the reality around you and within you. So if you think that you're killing yourself, you are. If you actually believe it through your diet and whatnot. So by focusing on health, we can achieve better health. Luckily, there's tools we can use because sometimes we just need a hardware upgrade. What I mean by hardware upgrade is our physical body. The mind and the physical body are intimately connected. Now, for many of us, including me, I heavily needed a physiological upgrade. I needed some herbs, I needed some nutrition so that my mind could work better. Once I put those things into my system, my mind could work better, I got back on track, my life became more balanced. That's what it's all about. Luckily, nature has the hardware that we can consume. We put these constituents into our system. We start thinking better. The Chinese tonic herbs have the ability to, again, help reduce stress. Do you have any clue how nice it is to not be so stressed here in this matrix? It's the key, because this matrix is designed to get you trapped by stress. The archons who designed this matrix want you stressed, mineral deficient, nutrient deficient, and not connected to source. They want to drain your primal essence, your chi, and your connection to the divine. That's how they control people. That's how they've turned us into an unconscious slave species. The only way we're going to realize that we're a slave species is if we begin tapping into more of our health and the power of our mind. That's when the Kundalini starts moving through our system. Only when we begin to expand the consciousness and expand the power of the internal organs in the physiological body will we realize how much power we have. And only once we get into that state of power can we realize that what we were before that was something that was being controlled. We were being controlled by the matrix, by the radiation. The food supply has been spiked with mind-controlling, mind-numbing constituents, physiological disruptors, hormone disruptors, endocrine estrogen mimickers, endocrine damagers, gene destroyers. Let's take advantage of our health, you guys. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope that you tap into the power of this ritual. I think it can benefit anyone. Drinking tea in general can benefit anyone as long as you're consuming the right teas. But if you use this in conjunction with positive feeling and thinking, you can start to reprogram your mind in a beneficial way whereby through repetition, you will eventually just start to have these positive thoughts running in your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind behind the scenes during your day-to-day activities. That's when this ritual starts to work. It's planting seeds, and through repetition of the ritual, you're watering those seeds until they become rooted in your mind. And that way you can, after a month or so, start to feel this really build up in your consciousness and your subconscious mind. And you'll notice that those positive thinking, those positive feelings and thoughts that you're generating through this ritual are actually beginning to affect your day-to-day reality, even when you're not doing the tea ritual. Throughout the day, throughout the morning, you constantly find yourself more happier and whatnot. It has the power to do this if you stay true to it, especially if you use the right herbs. Feel free to message me about herbs, about tonic herbs, anything you want. You guys can message me at any time with video recommendations. Again, this ritual is just a way of trying to reprogram yourself, because throughout the day, you guys, especially with the hectic 9-to-5 schedules, we allow negative thinking and negative feeling to really drag us down. So this ritual serves as a time away from all that, where we can just force positive feelings into our life and firmly plant them in our system, while at the same time taking medicinal herbs that have an adaptogenic effect and help us reduce stress. These things affect the mind. It's a beautiful system. I'm going to wrap this one up, you guys. I plan on doing more videos about this tea ritual. It's about a 45-minute video. I apologize for the length, but there's a lot to talk about. Peace be with you all.
All right, you guys. So in a video last month, I talked about a tea ritual that I use to invoke and instill positive thinking and positive feeling and emotion into my system, into my consciousness, into my soul every night. So this is a form of therapy, this tea ritual, especially once you realize that if you use really medicinal teas, it really amplifies the effect of this ritual. So positive thinking is one thing. You can do it without the usage of herbs and things of that nature. But if you tap into the power of the herbs, you guys, particular herbs have a tendency to actually affect the subconscious mind, affect the subconscious mind, affect the consciousness, affect the emotions, and affect your emotional well-being. Again, that's kind of a mouthful, excuse me. So, the tonic herbs of the traditional Chinese system especially have been used for thousands of years to affect the subconscious mind, affect the emotional well-being by nutrifying the body. You see, in traditional Chinese medicine, they approach healing. They approach the human body, let's put it that way, from the perspective that the mind and the body are intimately connected. They view unity in everything when it comes to the body. In the West, you guys, the Western doctors, the Western allopathic way of looking at things, the Western medicinal way of viewing the body, is they separate the mind and the body. So if you have a mental disorder, you go to the mental health clinic and they approach you from a mental perspective instead of looking at the body. In traditional Chinese medicine, they'll look to the body to help heal the mind, vice versa, because they view everything as interconnected, and that's smart because it indeed is. Excuse me. So, this tea ritual, you guys, is something I do every night, and what you do is you brew a pot of tea, whatever tea you like, although there are certain teas that are more efficacious than others for this, what you're trying to do with this ritual. I'm going to pause this really quick and then I'll be right back. Alright, so there's certain teas that will have a more profound effect on the mind than, say, if you were to just use like peppermint tea for this. But this ritual is something that I do every night where I sit down and I say certain affirmations and I read through the book Your Forces and How to Use Them by Christian D. Larson. I believe that's the author. Now, I've gone through that book and I've highlighted the entire thing. I mean, every single page in that book, pretty much, I've highlighted certain passages and affirmations. It's like my subconscious mental programming Bible. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. I posted a picture of it on the Patreon page a couple days ago. Everyone should read that. You can find that for 99 cents on Amazon Kindle or about $7 on Amazon Prime. That book lays out the foundation on the importance of positive thinking. That book, in the right hands, can absolutely change your life. It's changed my life heavily. It's simple, it's to the point, it's concise, and it packs a powerful punch. It basically holds up a mirror and shows you how you are the byproduct of your own thinking, and that most of us have molded the way we view the world based on negative thinking, whether we know it or not. It teaches you ways to tap into the subconscious mind and reprogram it. Now, because I like Chinese medicine, and because I know that the tonic herbs of the traditional Chinese medicine system have a profound effect on the consciousness and the well-being and the meridian system of the human body, because these herbs are so strong, they can actually help you emotionally tap into your subconscious mind by making you feel better. So, what I'll do, you guys, is I will make either Schisandra berry tea, or currently I'm experimenting with the lucid Ganoderma tea, which is reishi mushroom. Reishi mushroom is known in Asia to be pretty much the kingpin of, it's the symbol of healing, it's the symbol of health in many parts of Asia. Reishi mushroom is a powerful mental tonic. It works on opening up the heart. It works on creating a peaceful, calm state of mind. It has a cumulative effect. When you take this, I'm not saying it's going to work for you. It works for many people, but for some people, reishi doesn't work. It has a tendency to make you feel calm and centered. Feeling calm and centered is key if you're going to reprogram your mind for positive thinking so that you can start using your mind to attract things into your life that you want, to reprogram your life, because no one wants to be negative. Negative thinking is like having a parasite in the back of your mind that destroys your life. Being positive, once you lay down the foundation of positivity in your life and you actually start to feel it, every facet of your life improves. every single facet of your life improves. You start looking at reality different. You start viewing yourself differently. Your personal communication with other people gets different. Your work environment gets different. Your energy skyrockets because negative thinking, you guys, drains your emotional battery. It drains your Jing in Chinese medicine. Jing is your primal essence. It also drains your qi, also known as your qi in Chinese medicine, which is basically your life force. And then also disconnects you from your Shen, which is basically your connection to source. Anything traumatic, anything that is stressful that you can't transmute drains the three treasures of Chinese healing, which are Jing, Shen, and Qi. So we'll go deeper into those in the near future. But reprogramming the mind to a large extent is how when you reprogram the mind for positivity, you start to stimulate the three treasures and nourish them. But if you really want to get from point A to point B quicker, you don't just use for this tea ritual simple herbs, simple stuff. You use the Chinese tonic herbs, and my favorite is Sesandra berry. So this is a tincture, you guys. I actually have some of the dried berry coming in the mail today. So that's one of my favorite herbs. Again, the thing about the tonic herbs, you guys, is that the tonic herbs affect everyone differently. Sesandra might work for you, where it might not work for me. Ganoderma, also known as reishi, might not work for me, but it might work for you. Everyone has a different constitution. Everyone has a different yin-yang constitution in traditional Chinese medicine, and you have to experiment with things before you find out what works for you. But I've found that Sesandra has a very powerful effect on the mind. It enters the 12 main meridians of the human body. It goes into the psyche. It stimulates all three treasures of Chinese healing, and it has all 5 flavors. And then because of that, it contains all 5 of the elements in Chinese medicine, and it stimulates the 5 primary organs. So this is known by the master Taoist Sung Jing Park as the quintessence of herbs. It was his favorite herb. It produces energy. It has the Taoists revere Sesandra because of its powerful effect on the mind. And this is a mental ritual. This ritual is designed to start affecting you. You're using hardware to tap into the psyche, if that makes sense. We have such crazy lives here in the Matrix, you guys, that it's difficult for us to just sit down and meditate. If we have tools to use to achieve an end, to achieve a means, it can become much more simple. It can be easier because you have something to grab onto. You have tools to get from point A to point B. You have a roadmap instead of just sitting down and meditating and trying to get to point A to point B. It's nice because the tea stimulates the emotions because it's warm. It's fun. It tastes good. The tea contains bioflavonoids, polyphenols, anti-cancerous constituents, beneficial things that will affect your physiology. And if you affect your physiology properly with powerful enough herbs and tonics, it affects your consciousness to the point where this ritual has much more efficacy. Because if you do this without the herbs, you can have benefit. But if you give yourself the herbs, it basically adds a turbocharger to what you're trying to do. So I'm going to charge the phone for a bit and we'll continue. All right, you guys, so continuing. So if you don't know what this ritual really is, I talked about this in a previous video last month. It's basically just a ritual to reprogram your mind. Even people who think they're really positive, or they have things that can be transmuted. We all have improvements. So what's interesting about this is the more you do this ritual, the more you find, at least in my experience, the positive thinking leaking over into periods in the morning when I wake up, or at lunch, or this is basically you're just trying to instill deep-seated self-love into the system to the point where it will become so strongly a part of your consciousness and mind that you won't eventually even need this ritual. It'll just become part of your life. So, I developed this system because people like hands-on things, including me. I like using tools. I like experimenting with different herbs. So you can really take this to the next level if you want. I even will drink my tea, and then about an hour later, before I go to bed, I'll have some DHA oil. Essential for emotional well-being. Healthy fats are very essential for the brain. People who are really stressed out, people who have a lot of emotional stuff going on, they could really use some brain nourishment. And luckily the Chinese tonic herbs are very good at stimulating, nourishing the brain. So some herbs that I would recommend personally, or that I would use, I mean, you can use whatever you want. Reishi mushroom, Schisandra, Hoshu Wu, the root. It has to be prepared properly though, otherwise it'll give you diarrhea and make your stomach hurt. Other herbs. A great herb you could use, you guys, is the tonic herb Gynostemma. Where the part of the part of the world where people consume Gynostemma more, there's more centenarians there and octogenarians than anywhere else in the world, and they drink massive amounts of Gynostemma. And Gynostemma, you guys, is a sweet tasting. Let me show you. Let's see if I can find Gynostemma. Again, the part of the world, I think this is, yeah, Gynostemma. So Gynostemma, the places where people consume it most, there's more people that live to 100 and past 80 than anywhere else in the world. And they drink large amounts of Gynostemma. So Gynostemma is a great one. Gynostemma helps the cells to age slower. It beefs up the health of the cell. It's a great all-around herb. Spring Dragon Longevity Tea would be a great thing to consume every night. Which is, Spring Dragon Longevity Tea is a blend from dragon herbs that contains Gynostemma and 5 different Chinese herbs that have been reduced into an extract, and then they pour it over the Gynostemma leaves. It has Schisandra, wolfberry, what else does that have in it? It has 5 different herbs. I can't remember. It's got astragalus. I believe it has Ho Wong Guo in it and a few others. But that would be a great tea to use. You could use chrysanthemum flower for this, you guys. Chrysanthemum is beneficial to the eyes and the memory. It affects the brain. It's said that people who drink chrysanthemum flower before they go to bed, wake up feeling refreshed, and over time it greatly improves their memory. So I wouldn't consume something like hibiscus at night. Too much hibiscus can be unhealthy. I drink hibiscus during the day when I'm exercising and stuff like that, but I don't recommend consuming hibiscus before bed. Personally, at least, I just find that it has kind of a stimulating effect, even though it's a relaxant. I think that's probably because of the high levels of manganese and vitamin C in it. It just kind of energizes me. But again, reishi mushroom. Let's take a look through the Dragon Herbs catalog. You guys can go over to dragonherbs.com and find the Contact Me tab, and you can email them and request one of these catalogs for free. I'm not saying you're going to be guaranteed to get one, but there's a good chance you can. Goji berry, also known as lycium or wolfberry. Goji berry is high in polysaccharides, you guys. It's high in anti-cancerous constituents. Goji berry is full of vitamin C. Goji berry is a strong mental tonic, especially when it's mixed with Schisandra. Schisandra and goji go great together. It's a beautiful, beautiful little berry. It's actually a descendant of the pepper family, believe it or not. And Dragon Herbs grows theirs in Heaven Mountain, which is where you get the most pristine goji berries in the world. The water that these are feed off of naturally, the glacial runoff. This is the only type of goji berry you should be consuming, is the Dragon Herbs goji berry. The other stuff on the market is garbage. I've experimented with it. They don't clump up properly. They're way too red. It's just a joke. Hishu Wu. This stuff is awesome. Hishu Wu, you guys, is used in traditional Chinese medicine to rapidly restore the Jing. And the Jing is your primal essence. Jing is lost through excessive amounts of work, stress, trauma, excessive amounts of sexuality. For men, excessive amounts of loss of sperm will lead to a rapid decline in loss in Jing if you're not careful about it. Again, He Shu Wu has been known to rapidly restore the Jing, which is, again, the primal essence. It's basically your reserves of energy, for lack of a better term. Jing is one of the 3 treasures of Chinese healing. So, to try to summarize what Jing, Shen, and Qi are is very difficult because you can go on and on and on about them. And those are the 3 treasures of Chinese healing. Jing, Shen, and Qi. But He Shu Wu is known to restore the Jing rapidly. It has to be prepared properly, however. It needs to be cooked with a certain form of black bean. And there's a symbiotic connection between the black bean and the He Shu Wu, where it makes it more digestible and assimilable. Otherwise, it'll give you diarrhea. It can give you stomach cramps. A lot of the herbs in Chinese medicine have to be extracted and cooked down, which conflicts with a lot of the raw foodist movement out here in the Matrix. Raw foods are great. I try to consume as much raw food as possible. I consider myself primarily a raw foodist. But I'm not opposed to the power of fire and heat. Heat can extract alkaloids. Heat can bring out the best properties of roots. Again, roots have to be heated. Barks need to be heated, you guys. Otherwise, you really can't break up the oils and the constituents contained therein. He Shu Wu is also really, really pretty. It's known as the immortality vine, I believe. Or the vine that you cannot kill, because you can overwater this stuff, you can underwater it, you can abuse it, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. It's very hard to kill. And when you consume He Shu Wu, you download that same energy into your system. This is used by many, many, many people to stimulate the chakras and to nourish the Jing, to bring life back into your meridians. Your meridians are the subtle channels inside your physiology that Qi moves through. This is how the Kundalini moves through the body, through the meridians. Also through the nerve channels, the Ida and the Pingala nerve channels that wrap around to the Sushumna, which is the main channel at the base of the spine to the top of the head that the Kundalini rises up. Sazandraberry. Ginseng. If you get good ginseng, ginseng would be very, very beneficial for this ritual, you guys. Ginseng is so nourishing. Ginseng, if it's high quality, if it's over 8 years old, will actually affect your mind very, very beneficially. It's so many people have benefit from ginseng, but so many people think ginseng is horrible because they consume the ginseng you find in the Chinese market for like $2. It's garbage. It's immature. When ginseng is immature, the yin and yang energy in it has not been balanced. As ginseng matures, so does its nutritional profile. And when you consume truly mature ginseng, it's known to make people lucky. It's known to make people excel. It's known to make people happy. And that's because the constituents in real ginseng seem to be able to affect they're so nourishing that they uplift you to such an extent and make you feel so good that it reprograms the subconscious mind if continued. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to reprogram the subconscious mind with herbs, affirmations, and things like that. And that's why I recommend getting a copy of Christian D. Larson's book, Your Forces and How to Use Them. So you can meditate while you do this. You can do whatever you want. I just recommend getting that book because it will really, really, if you read passages of that book while you do this and you sip your tea and you kind of envision as you're drinking the tea, the energy going into your system and digesting and becoming a part of you, your happiness, very, very beneficial. So, astragalus root, great for the DNA, you guys. Astragalus root is amazing. It's used heavily in China, in different parts of the Orient. Cordyceps mushroom, very interesting stuff. You'll notice that they look like worms. That's because cordyceps is a fungus that actually consumes a particular form of worm. I'm not going to get into detail about that right now. But gynostemma, just some ideas, you guys. I'm probably going to add an addendum to this and maybe do an introduction because I talked a lot about the herbs and whatnot, but I wanted to lay down the foundation of how to actually do this. You need to sit down. I sit down, excuse me. You can do it however you want, but I sit down, I read out of Christian D. Larson's book, Your Forces and How to Read Them. I watch uplifting things. I tell myself mantras that are uplifting while I drink my tea. So I may add an addendum to this. I know I'm going to add an intro, but if I don't, peace be with you. I hope you guys use these protocols. I hope you can do this every day for a year. You have to get, in order to get benefit from these protocols, you guys, it requires repetition. This is not something that you dabble in. It's like weightlifting. If you want to gain muscle, you don't just lift weights once a month and expect to get big. You have to do repetition and stay committed to what you're doing. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And as always, I like to recommend the healthy fats. Algal oil is beneficial in conjunction with this program. This is vegan DHA, 600 milligrams of omega-3 algal oil. You can also, if you want, you guys use the coconut oil. You can buy coconut oil in capsules. This is the Nutiva stuff. Awesome, high quality coconut oil. I have Lunabug on that. Lunabug, what's she doing? I have Luna consuming the coconut oil. But, you know, what's beautiful about these, they're gel capsules. They're 100% vegan. Easy to consume. So, I do need to charge my phone. I'll probably add some more content to this video, but the power of positive thinking, you guys. Positive thinking will lead to scientific thinking. Scientific thinking, for those who do not know, is when you think only positive things and uplifting things that benefit your life. Scientific thinking is what separates people who get things done from people who don't. It's what separates the successful people from the non-successful people. Not trying to be judgmental, but scientific thinking. All people who have become wealthy and successful use scientific thinking to some extent. Unless you just got really lucky and you won the lottery or something like that. But even then, you've kind of attracted that into your life. So, Lucid Ganoderma, also known as Ling Jia, from the Royal King Company. I'm not 100% sure if I like this yet. I'm still experimenting with this particular tea. But I plan on doing about a year's worth of experimentation with Rishi. So, peace be with you. I left a couple things out, but due to the fact that this is a very expansive protocol, I mean, I could make multiple videos about different aspects of what you can add to this and whatnot. I just wanted to, you know, again, I could keep going on and on and on forever. I don't want to make this video too long. I want to try to make it under 30 minutes. But one other thing you guys can try if you want is theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid that's extracted from green tea. People who drink a lot of green tea say that they feel calm and whatnot. They've found that the calming agent in green tea is actually an amino acid called theanine. And this is a vegan form of theanine. And I've found that this produces a very, very calming effect. I actually have a 30 to 45 minute video, I think it's about 45 minutes, here on the Patreon page just about theanine and its therapeutic uses. So, you can also make a tonic with just water and theanine. You can add this to things like gynostemma tea as well. I'm not necessarily recommending that you just add this to your teas because I'm not 100% sure how this reacts with all teas. I usually take this with coffee, but I have added this to gynostemma tea. I've added this to spring dragon longevity tea, and it helps within 30 minutes produce a very deep state of relaxation. It's much easier to produce positive thinking, you guys, positive feeling, if you're relaxed. Positive thinking, you can think positive thoughts all day, even if you're stressed. But positive thoughts only have power if you actually feel the power of those thoughts. It's not so much what we think, it's how we think, and it's how we feel. We're trying to produce a state of feeling good, of feeling relaxed. Certain tools can help us do that in such a crazy world. So, again, it's not necessarily it's not necessarily what you think. You have to feel good, you guys, and then produce those states of thought. And through repetition of thought, we can reprogram the mind and live a completely different life through positivity. B vitamins, whole multivitamin. I take 2 of these every day. The recommended dosage is 3, but I like to keep my iron levels a little bit lower because they extract a lot of iron out of other constituents. I take 2 of these every day in a smoothie. This is kind of off subject from tea,
But I've found over the years of experimenting with multivitamins and multiminerals that these give you the essential building blocks to become not only physically healthy but mentally healthy. I don't necessarily enjoy having to take these, but in a crazy world, these come in very beneficial. The niacin, the B vitamins, and the things contained therein can help you get your life back on track through repetition. You have to take B vitamins repetitively, though, for them to work. All you're doing with these vitamins is giving your body trace amounts of constituents as building blocks. And over time, your body gets accustomed to consuming those building blocks, and it can start repairing stuff in your system. So a lot of people are opposed to B vitamins and multiminerals. That's fine. I'm a little more conventional in that respect, and I've experimented with these long enough to know that my body likes them. But I take them and I put them in a pill crusher, which is what this is. If I can undo it. Apparently I can't, but this actually helps you absorb them, you guys, because what I'll do is I'll take 2 of these, and you'll notice if you look at these, doing all this stuff one-handed, it's not that easy. You'll notice if you look at these are incredibly hard. When you consume a vitamin like that, you don't absorb all of it. It takes a lot of digestive fortitude to break something down that's that hard. So what I do is I put 2 in there and I close this and turn it into a fine powder, and then add it to my smoothie every night with the spirulina and the amino acids. So just another little tip, you guys. Vitamins essential to mental health, mental functioning, physical health, physical functioning. Theanine is another great thing. This was I believe $19, and it'll last how many servings? Yeah, there's 60 servings in that, so that's a 2-month supply. So if you don't want to buy a tea kettle or some tea, you can also go the budget route and just get this and add it to water. But I do recommend the tea kettle, because the tea kettle is the tea pot in the process of drinking in a little cup is highly, it's a spiritual process. And this is some reishi mushroom, you guys. Consuming out of the little cups makes it easier to sip in a slower process. You don't just want to guzzle this stuff while you're doing this ritual. You want to make it last at least 15 minutes. And this is an electric kettle by Farberware. I highly recommend one of these. This allows me to just plug it in my room at night, late at night, whenever I want tea. Just plug it in, put the teapot right on there, and turn it on. And it just brings the water to a boil in a very rapid amount of time. I'm not saying this is the most beneficial way to heat water, because it's not, but it's very convenient. And if you have things that are more convenient in a crazy, stressful world where your time is of the essence, it can be easier to get things done than having to get a pot out and put it on the stove and turn the gas on or the electric stove and wait for it. This is a much more approachable, much more convenient way that more people can utilize with success because it's easier. Peace be with you.